Howdy and aloha, everyone. James of Montauk, and I don't know what the hell's going on with my hair. It is 10/17/2024. This is my ongoing documentary on just how crazy the world has become, especially in 2020, early 2020. Fucking crazy. And I can prove that right here. Let me just play this for you real quick. Let's turn up the...
Comes home pregnant.
How exactly does it...
Yeah, let's just watch this again. Oh, darn it. I gotta scroll down now.
Professor, you say men can get pregnant?
Of course they can.
Are you qualified to be here?
Yes, I have a degree, Senator, sir.
What kind of degree? Like on a thermometer?
It's all fun and games until your son comes home pregnant.
How exactly does a man get pregnant?
Is that a serious question?
Fuck.
Maybe Dr. Pushhard can answer that one. She's sitting right there.
We're delivering more than a promise.
How does a man get pregnant?
It's called rearing a child.
Are you sure?
With all due respect, sir, I'm the expert here.
I'm confused. What hole does the baby come out?
They're called rectal births or butt babies.
Professor, you say men can get pregnant?
Of course they can.
Are you qualified to be here?
Yes, I have a degree, Senator, sir.
What kind of degree? Like on a thermometer?
It's all fun and games until your son comes home pregnant.
How exactly does a man get pregnant? Professor, you say men can get pregnant?
Of course they can.
Are you qualified?
Is that a serious question?
Wow. What do you say about that? What? I mean, the first thing that comes into my mind is, how is that even being brought up? How is that even an issue? How is that even part of a conversation in Congress? It's just lunacy. I mean, you've seen the floodgates being opened ever since 2021, when the Biden administration, basically illegitimately took over and started peddling this insanity. I've just never at any point said, I think they've got... No, there's no point. There's no substance. It's not viable. How did you get here? That's the biggest question. How did you get here, young lady? Right? Ask any one of them. So how'd you get here, Dr. Dumbass, whatever her fucking name is? And how did the other one? How did you get here? From out of a butthole? I mean, for fuck's sakes. It's nuts. It's fucking nuts. Meanwhile, it's just fucking crazy. No. There was a study done, and they found out that a lot of leftover liberals, and I'm not saying I'm not liberal, and I'm liberal in a lot of ways. Do your thing, do your business. Just keep it the fuck away from our kids. When you get older, you experiment, you do things. Maybe you want to go in that direction. Maybe you don't want to go in that direction. Maybe you want to go in a different, or whatever you want to do. I mean, when you're an adult, as long as you're not hurting anybody, just keep it the fuck away from our kids. It's just insanity, and I clearly proved how this makes money. It makes a lot of money for big pharma to administer medications, estrogen and testosterone or whatever, whichever way you want to go. And then they have opioids and antidepressants and all this shit that they're going to give children. ADHD is bullshit. What's interesting is Tom Hartman did a thing about ADHD, and he says ADHD is just, it's a natural. You got to do stuff with your hands. You got to be moving. Get things going. It's tough to put a child in a classroom for 45 minutes to an hour. What the fuck? It's like time out prison. It's ridiculous. Let them get up, let them move around, let them build things, let them experiment, let them spin around and look up in the sky, whatever. When I was a kid, we did all kinds of fun and crazy nutty things. It wasn't so structured. But structure is important for kids. I think that's important. But at the same time, you gotta let them be kids first and foremost. You gotta let children be children first and foremost. And if you're not doing that, then you're just getting in the way of their evolution of becoming adults. And a lot of us, in a sense, kind of don't grow up. To be honest with you, I still have a kid-like mentality sometimes. I think we all kind of do. It's always good to hold on to that youth in your mind, in your brain, in your subconscious. It's what makes you laugh. It makes you giggle. It's what gives you that character that you've taken with you over your trials and tribulations and the fun and enjoyment that you've had through your life, and it builds who you are. And people are being branded and impressions and marketed this stuff, this craziness. Young age, come on. I don't want you reading sexually explicit content to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever year olds, which the woke culture is all about that right now. It's fucking crazy, but there's a reason for that. I explained it's big pharma, big hospital makes money off of these disgusting body mutilating surgeries, whether it's below or above or wherever the fuck you're going to do it to it, and then big psychology makes a fucking shit ton of money because they have to talk to you and you got to go see them, and then it's just another circle jerk of, well, let me prescribe this and prescribe that, and then we'll get this moving and that moving. They all kind of work hand in hand. And people don't understand. They're being played. They're being fooled. They're being taken advantage of. And then it all comes down to a lot of it, right? With or without the diet, the things that are in your food, the processed foods. The fluoride has been found to be extremely terrible for testosterone and lots of other, natural mechanical mechanisms in your body. And they get offended. They'll get offended when you'll say, well, maybe you shouldn't, the cereal you're eating right now is terrible, and there you have Kelsey and his brother fucking pushing the worst shit on kids right now, which is like Kellogg. And then General Mills isn't as good either. It's just junk. We've got foods that have all these dyes and poisons and just junk inside of it. When I was a kid, cereals were pretty bad. I remember reading the box when I was a kid, like 13, 14 years old, right? I think I was curious. What's in Cheerios? Oh, it's this, that. There was like 8 things. Now there's like 50 things in Cheerios. Stuff I can't even pronounce. Yeah, it's gotten out of hand, and it can affect you psychologically. It can affect your thinking and your behavior. And I always say if your kids, ADHD is also a cause of some of the stuff you're giving your kid when he wakes up in them, sugar, 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 and then you send them off to school, right? Processed foods, and you send them off to school. It's hard for the body's constantly fighting, constantly battling these poisons we keep putting in brains of children, in their digestive systems. Stuff, the air they're breathing. We've got aluminum, microplastics flying. We got just so much crap flying through the air. Not to mention CO2, of course, I get that. But there's just so many things. CO2 is part of the atmosphere already. But there's so many different other chemicals out there that are constantly floating around and coming from factories and this, that, and the other thing. It's just nuts. And the fragrances. God, the fragrances. There's some stuff when I first moved in here. God bless the people that love me and take care of me. And, well, they don't take care of me, but they help me. We're all family and friends. And they got these plug-in air fresheners. And they make me sick. They smell good, supposedly. But they just really make me sick. And some say natural. They're just not natural. If I want it to smell rosy and flowery, I'm going to go get some flowers. And I'll bring them in and let them grow in my place. But right now, my house smells like a man's house. It's got, you get in, it's just, man, I'm just the way it is. But I don't need those fragrances. I don't need them I hate them in my clothes. It makes me sneeze a lot. I just do the wash and let it, And I do wear some cologne every once in a while, I try to get the Arm & Hammer non-aluminum or just without chemical, as much as we can. But there's so many things out there that we used to use, for our bodies to keep us more grounded to our natural primal side, right? And it's disappearing. We're becoming, in a sense, synthetic. And it's not good. And it's causing kids and teens and just to not really be there. I'm not, the focus is kind of gone. So I'm asking and telling people, I'm not going to go into your face. I mean, if you're going to watch this program, I'm going to tell you right now. Be aware of what you're putting in your kids' stomachs. It makes a difference. What the biggest thing I've ever heard from my grandfather when he had a farm for 29 years in Northern California, avocado ranch. I worked on there on the weekends and whenever I could. But he said, what couldn't be more true is that old saying, you are what you eat. You are what you eat. If you want to be an elite athlete, you better, screw this processed gummy crap and these proteins and shit. Just fucking eat some solid meat. Eat eggs. Eat, real, like thick vegetables, flavonoids, carotenoids, with lots of color. And there's so many other things. There's people that are on the full-on, their keto diets. There's like a meat diet. There's all these other diets, but, you just get some exercise, drink. The biggest thing you can do is make sure you get water that's not from the tap, especially if you're living in Anaheim, California, because according to ewg.org, just put your zip code in there, Echo Whiskey Golf.org, and just put your zip code in there. You'll see what kind of crap, and I mean, there's like 27, 32 or some contaminants in Anaheim, California, where Disneyland is in Southern California. Like, it's like worse than Michigan, Flint, Michigan. It's terrible. The happiest place on earth, by the way. Yeah, there's just so many I would say inhibitors, or it's something that's kind of stalls your ability to be more primal, more, primal to me is just real. I mean, could you imagine living in 1892, right, or 1904, right, and somebody brought you some potatoes, butter, chives, sour cream, baked potato, and they slopped on a fucking T-bone steak, and gave you some vegetables, some fresh vegetables on the side, which was the pretty good meal. That used to happen a lot. That used to be pretty much the meal you'd get. A while ago, people were eating, there was lots of cattle, lots of meat, lots of fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. There wasn't vaccinated or cows with steroids in them and all kinds of crap that they put in these animals these days. These people are just fresh. Could you imagine that feeling? Could you imagine waking up one day and all the toxins were out of your body? Well, that's how they lived every day. And you watch how they behaved, and you watch how they dressed, and you watch their physicality. They were upright, they were strong, they were thinner, right? They didn't have all these creaky bones and all this other stuff that people get lately more often, and the cancers that are out there and all these other things that people are getting in, and all of a sudden it got worse. The processed foods went crazy. They switched from tallow, lard, they went to fucking seed oil or vegetable oil, Crisco, which is basically engine lubricant. And people are, you can taste it. If I refuse to eat French fries or any fried food, if I can catch myself, because I can taste it. It's like I'm biting in. When I first take that initial bite, it tastes like I'm biting into some kind of oil or lubricant. It doesn't have a natural first impression on my palate. And that's where we're at. That's the money that's made off of us being ill has been such a giant industry, and they start from as a baby. Like the vaccine schedule, there's dozens that you have to take now. Dozens, 30, 40, 50, whatever. Before you're the age of 18. There's a bunch of them you get in when you go into the military. There's, I remember when I was a kid, I think we had 5. And now it's just crazy. And then, autism's up and all this other stuff's up and all, it's just, it's obvious. The human body has been around for a long fucking time. This body has been eating fried tallow, fried lard, grease, real grease for hundreds of thousands of years, probably. At least thousands of years, and our bodies have adapted. It's not even adapted, it's just naturally that's what we have in our, we've been always eating. And now, the stuff they're putting in. So, this is something that MAHA is about. Make America Healthy Again. That's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is in that march. With others. With other things that are definitely part of, the issues. If you've gone to his website, you'll see what else he wants to bring around for Americans. But there's still a club out there, right? And I'm kind of switching here, but there's still a club out there, and it's let me just show you what it is. What history here? It's probably commercial. Of course, it's commercial. But this club is called the Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation Dinner in New York. And Borla's there from Pfizer. Just, you fucking name it. There's a bunch of these fucking people here. As a matter of fact, we're gonna go through the introductions here. That's because I think it's important that you see this. But yeah, just stop. That's huge to me. That's huge. We've really got to get off of this. And I want you to do what you want and stuff, but let's just try to be as natural as possible. And if you grow up older and you want to do something differently sexually with your body, yeah, it's your fucking business. But leave the fucking kids out of it. Keep them healthy. It's that simple, right? But that's not what the Kamala Waltz ticket wants. They're all in with this. They want it to continue. Do they have a Maha group? People saying keep us healthy? No, they're fucking eating Doritos. As a matter of fact, they're like feeding like Gretchen Whitheimer, fucking Minnesota or whatever she fucking, what the fuck? Anyway. So let me go to here and let's do the introductions on who's here. They're going to start introducing people here in a second. Oh, they are.
Vice President of Player Leadership and Development, Alan Houston. Two-time award-winning journalist and Fox News and Fox Business anchor, Maria Bartiromo. Antun Senowi, chairman of the SGBL Group and board member of the Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation. Martha McCallum, Fox News anchor of The Story and Fox Election Night. Greg Brown, chairman and CEO of Motorola Solutions. John Q. Doyle, president and chief executive officer, Marsh McClellan. Michelle Adams, senior managing director, Tishman Speyer, and board member of the Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation. The Honorable Letitia James, New York State Attorney General. Marcos A. Rodriguez, chairman and chief executive officer, Palladium Equity Partners, and board member of the Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation. James Tisch, chief executive officer, Lowe's Corporation. Cheryl Hines, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Rosanna Scotto, host of Good Day New York.
You guys notice that? What the fuck? It's a big club, man. Jesus. They're still rubbing elbows to you. They're not going to stop. But something's got to break, and I think it might happen here pretty soon. But let's just continue. This is fucking nuts. So, Letitia James, who's suing Trump, is sitting on the same platform just a few seats down from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I think Trump is supposed to speak here, too.
John Ciulla, president and chief executive officer of Webster Bank.
Oh, big bank.
Reverend Father Christopher Monturo, pastor of Sacred Heart, Our Lady of Pompeii Parish, Dobbs Ferry, and board member of the Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation. His Excellency Paul P. Komnicki, Eparch of Stamford Ukrainian Catholic Church. The Honorable Thomas G. Donlin, Commissioner, New York City Police Department. Jose Tavares, Vice Chairman of Private Bank of New York, City President, Bank of America.
There it is.
Columnist, author, and Compact Magazine co-founder, Sohrab Amari. The Most Reverend Robert J. Brennan, Bishop of Brooklyn. Scott A. Greenstein, President, Sirius XM.
How it's doing?
NFL quarterback, Vinny Testaverde. Howard Lutnick, Chairman and CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald. Stephen Witkoff, Founder, Chairman, and Co-Chief Executive Officer of Witkoff. Martine Beeman, Partner at Davis Polk Wardell, LLP, and Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation Board Member. Frank J. Bizignone, Chairman of the Board, President and Chief Executive Officer and Director of Fiserv.
Oh, look at that.
Francis A. Reshevsky, Corporate and Nonprofit Board Member and Board Member of the Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation. Dr. Ramon Talaj, Officer of Witkoff. Martine Beeman, Partner at Davis Polk Wardell, LLP, and Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation Board Member. Frank J. Bizignone, Chairman of the Board, President and Chief Executive Officer and Director of Fiserv.
That's different, not Pfizer, but he's here, by the way.
Francis A. Reshevsky, Corporate and Nonprofit Board Member and Board Member of the Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation. Dr. Ramon Talaj, Chairman of the Board of Somos Innovation. Lucy Fato, Executive Vice President and General Counsel, Seaport Entertainment Group, and Board Member of the Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation. Thomas A. Moore, Senior Partner, Cramen, Dilloff, Livingston, and Moore, and Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation Board Member. Lynn Martin, New York Stock Exchange. John J. Studinsky, Managing Director and Vice Chairman, PIMCO. Stephanie Rule.
Journalist.
William C. Rudin, Co-Executive Chairman, Rudin. The Honorable Adrian Adams, Speaker of the New York City Council. Roger Goodell, Commissioner of the National Football League. John K. Castle, Chairman and CEO of Castle Harlan Incorporated. Ken Langone, co-founder of the Home Depot.
Okay.
Robert K. Kraft, founder, chairman, and CEO of the Kraft Group and the Foundation to Combat All Hate. The Honorable Michael R. Bloomberg, founder of Bloomberg LP, Bloomberg Philanthropies, and the 108th Mayor of the City of New York.
There it is.
Ursula M. Burns, Chairwoman of Teneo Holdings, LLC, and founding partner of Integrum Holdings. Dr. Albert Bourla, Chairman and Chief Executive.
There it is. Okay. Yeah, it's a big club still. It's still a big club, people. Dr. Albert Bourla, Chairman and CEO of Pfizer, Inc. Let's see who else jumps by, but for fuck's sakes, man. You know. By the way, Chuck Schumer's already there.
Executive Officer, Pfizer, Inc.
No, nobody.
Marianne
clapping.
Ty, CEO, New York Tri-State Region, CBRE.
Now, here's what's interesting is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is there, and fucking Bourla's there. God.
Brian Kilmeade, co-host of Fox and Friends, host of Brian Kilmeade Radio Show, and host of One Nation on the Fox News Channel. John K. Mara, New York Giants. Al Kelly, Advisory Director, Berkshire Partners, and retired Chairman and CEO of
Berkshire
Visa.
Hathaway.
Hockey Hall of Famer from the New York Rangers, King Henrik Lundqvist.
Good fucking hockey player.
Adena Freeman, Chair and Chief Executive Officer, NASDAQ. The Honorable Brad Lander, New York City Comptroller. Howard Milstein, Immigrant Bank and former chairman of the New York State Thruway Authority. The Honorable Raymond W. Kelly, Chief Executive Officer, Guardian Group, former New York City Police Commissioner, and board member of the Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation.
Guardian Group.
Writer, author, and Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist for the Wall Street Journal, Peggy Noonan.
Puke.
Xenia Mucha, Chief Brand Officer, TikTok.
Oh, fuck you. Oh, that reminds me. My TikTok, fuck. Here. I gotta show you here. Now watch what happens when I refresh TikTok. I had 3,343 followers in just 8 months. It came pretty quick, but watch this. And the last post I did was on, where's the information for that? Repost. This was done about 2 weeks ago. So what's going on? Maybe there's nothing wrong with my TikTok. It said it was suspended permanently. That's interesting. Okay, well, maybe they turned it back on. I don't know. But this is strange. Yeah. All right. TikTok. Fuck. Yeah, they knocked out a lot of Trump supporters in TikTok, from what I'm hearing. A lot. Just like half of them. You know, of course. All right, let's go back to this. I want to see who else shows up to this gala.
His Eminence, the Most Reverend Boris Godzisky, Archbishop Metropolitan for the Ukrainian Catholic Archeparchy of Philadelphia.
Ukrainian.
The Honorable Juman
Mr. Zieg Heil. That's one of their clubs. Anyway, you'll get it one day.
Williams, Public Advocate of the City of New York. The Honorable Robert Tucker, Commissioner of New York City Fire Department. Rudolph Winter, National Grid, New York. New York Rangers legend and 1994 Stanley Cup champion, number 35, Mike Richter.
Yep. Mike Richter.
John Katzimatidis, Chairman and CEO, Red Apple Group and WABC Radio. The Honorable Bill de Blasio, 109th Mayor of the City of New York.
That guy's big. He's sweating already.
Kelly C. McKenna, Directors, Cliffwater LLC, and board member of the Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation. John D. Frierick, Dean Emeritus and Professor, Fordham Law School, and board member of the Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation. The Reverend Monsignor Joseph P. Lamort, Vicar General of the Archdiocese of New York.
There they are. Let me go to the. I think Chuck Schumer's talking right now. Yeah.
Michael, Cardinal dinner. My wife and I, we do have 3 boys, and I hope our son, Cardinal, doesn't feel too much pressure to become a priest. Full disclosure, Cardinal Dolan is also a friend of mine, and I would never put him on the spot, but Cardinal Dolan, I'm curious. The Pope did say that this election is a choice between the lesser of 2 evils. And so, 2-part question. 1, do you agree? And 2, who's more evil? All right, I'll come back to you.
Trump's right there.
This, of course, is a Catholic event honoring Governor Al Smith, who in 1928 was the first Catholic to run on a major party. To put that in perspective, in 1928, Chuck Schumer was a first-term senator.
Jesus.
Thanks for sitting here, Chuck. Of course, Joe Biden was our second Catholic president, right? After JFK. President Biden couldn't be here tonight. The DNC made sure of that.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, that's... I guess I'm the only one that reads history.
Nice.
But this is a Catholic event. I'm Catholic. Any Catholics here? No. They're yelling because it's hard to clap when you're holding a cocktail. Right?
Catholics drink like crazy. But that's interesting, right? There's fucking... Let me see here. Hold on.
As you can... Please, give it up. Yeah. As you can see how we're dressed,
so there's Schumer and just on both sides. There's Trump and Schumer. Big club people. Yeah, I really am believing that this guy's just going through the motions. But I also watched him, and I think you guys should watch this. This is really a good interview for Trump. It's a sit down. He's just kind of sitting there, just kicking back, with Patrick. Let me find it. I gotta find this. This is huge. Where the heck is it? Here, give me a second. I'm just gonna look for it, so you don't have to watch all the crap I go through here. Oh, it's probably on this playlist. Nope. Yeah, I gotta go through here. Coming up.
Do you think he will listen to you?
When you say just talk,
when did you talk to him?
2 hours ago.
Okay.
He called me. I didn't call him. And our country has been poisoned, okay? They're all threats to our nation. she would have no idea what we're talking about.
Do you think 2024 could be one of those years that we look back and say they lost the African American vote?
The real threat isn't global warming. The real threat is nuclear warming. Right?
That's not the question I'm asking, if I may. Just let's go in the middle of the ocean and talk. You have to set your phone aside.
If I were president, that war would have never happened.
Who were really the power players? Who were the manipulators? Who were the ones that would threaten behind closed doors?
No, I don't want to put you in trouble. More beautiful than any word I know, Tara.
If I buy this in U.S. and it's made in U.S., it's $2,400.
Well, let me explain. Can you send me that chart? Look at that.
I spent some time with Bill.
He loved having you that night. You're like a psychiatrist for a lot of people. Because this stuff is very good. Now, let's end the show right now.
So before you watch this interview, I want to share a couple thoughts with you. For a guy like me, I used to come up in business. I never liked politics, never paid attention to it. I could care less. My parents.
All right. I got to tell you, this is a really good interview. I recommend you watching it.
Like a massive, a full, they said he's the greatest in the history of, I had the best border in the history of the country. I had the best economy in the history of the country. But you take a look at some of these stats. So yesterday, a young woman's playing volleyball. You saw that shot? And he got hit by a hard shot by a man who transitioned.
There's been many of those. If there was a new one yesterday.
She got hit in the head. She didn't know where she was.
Right.
You know? She said, I've never seen a ball travel at that speed before. But here's why do they want that? I don't understand that. Usually you understand, like somebody wants something. Mm-hmm. You try and figure it out. And you could go through a lot of things. You know, why do they want transgender? Why do they want to take somebody's child, a boy, and make the boy into a girl and not tell the parents? I mean, they do this. And at first they said, no, but that's just an exaggeration. No, it's not. It's really not.
State of California.
Why do they want to? Yeah. Well, look at California. Gavin Newsom, who's one of the worst governors, but he's got a good line of stuff, and he'll tell everyone how well he's done. But it's the first time they've ever lost more people than they gained. You know,
Yeah, it's a good interview. You can really tell that the he's old, but he's wise. That's what I see when I'm hearing him. It's a man that's been through it all. I mean, for fuck's sakes, he's 72, 73 years old. You know, and he's been through a lot. He's been through the fucking ringer, you know. And a lot of us have. And Hard Knocks didn't start hitting him really until he got into politics. I mean, but he worked his ass off. He gets nobody, I don't think there's anybody out there. And there's a biography about him that I think you guys should check out. His day. His day. Gets up like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Just going at it. Just got a 12. He's non-stop. Non-fucking stop. This man doesn't drink, doesn't smoke. He doesn't take fucking drugs or opioids or shit like Kamala probably. You know, the guy's pure. He's real. He probably eats really good, obviously. Of course, the best steaks, the best vegetables, of course. You know, he can afford that shit now. You know, some people can't. But he built his empire. You know, he did it from I don't want to say ground up, but he earned it from his father, who built it from the ground up. His father earned it. His father was a laborer in construction and just started making buildings and started selling buildings, real estate, construction contracts, et cetera, and it just became pretty more so upper middle class, and then became, you know, pretty rich. His father did, because he earned it. And then his son, who was being raised by his father, did great. He followed in his father's footsteps. He took over the companies and the businesses and kept the name strong. You know, it's like that movie, The Legend of Greystoke. with Tarzan. Now, I'm not saying fucking Trump was Tarzan. I'm just saying they never sold the property. You know what I mean? They never sold Greystone, which I wish I could have said about my grandfather's farm. Mom. Anyway, yeah, I'm still bitter about that, obviously. But the thing is they kept the family strong. They kept their empire strong. They don't consider themselves kings or queens or a messiah. He's already said that already. You know, he knows that there is a divine something that's maybe protecting him. I don't know. It's kind of seeming like it at this point, but I can't put my hand on it. You know, we don't know. All we know is that the man's real. And he hasn't been in politics. And there's a conversation in there where he's new in politics and doesn't know, and he's learning, and all these people around, and Patrick's asking him, you know, what's going on, and when did you figure it out? He goes, well, some of the people were good and some of the people were bad. I really didn't know. You know, so everybody's blaming this guy who, see, most, like 90, say he says there are 95% or 96% or something of politicians that become president were either in politics already. They were a mayor, they were a governor, Senate, House, either state or federal level, right? But it's very rare when you get somebody that comes in. And even Reagan was fucking a governor for 2 terms in California. You know, that's very rare when you get somebody just out of nowhere, just a John average man or who has some publicity already moving in his direction, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But that's kind of what we need now. Somebody who's been in the trenches, somebody who talks to employees, somebody who goes into a barber shop, you know, and sits down or comes in and greets people. And we need people like that are there. I mean, there's so many fake fucking politicians out. Let's see what's going on with this dinner.
Okay.
Oh,
now, by the way,
still,
there are rumors
he's still
that
going,
Mayor
man.
Bloomberg
there's
is
Melania
planning to buy, run.
Melania's with him. Oh man, that's cool. It's good to see them together. She's very religious.
I don't know if that's true. Quick question, Mayor Bloomberg. When you buy an election, do you put it on a credit card so you can get the points?
Bloomberg, when you buy an election. Fuck. That was a good
I
one.
already did the RFK.
Yeah,
joke,
it is
so,
kind of boring.
But anyway, you know, well, the one thing that I'm going to say is that I feel like Donald Trump, you know, make America healthy again. I feel like Donald Trump would probably be less loyal to RFK than he would be to KFC. You know what I mean? It's like, I think the rank of Colonel Sanders. Some of these I wrote during lunch. Woody Johnson is here tonight, owner of the New York Jets, heir to the Johnson & Johnson pharmaceutical fortune. You know, in divisive...
It's a formality. Do you guys see this? Do you see how this works? It's a formality. You got to go through the motions. You know, Trump probably was there before, but he's there now. But I am just going to say that I don't want the woke shit. I don't want the prices to go up because they are. Because it's going to get worse. You know, if, like Elon said, the guy that fucking here, you got to see what this man did. All right, I got to show you what this guy did here. Elon Musk. Chop. Space. Just type this in. Chopsticks catch. This fucking really happened. And I know you've probably already seen it already, possibly, or whatever.
3, 2, 1. 3.5 liftoff. Vehicles pitching downrange.
That thing is 266 meters tall. It's fucking gigantic.
This is one of the most gorgeous things I've ever seen in my entire life. Coming up on hot stage for separation confirmed.
Booster
Watch
coming
this.
in. See how fast this vehicle is moving on the left hand. Landing burn.
13 inches.
Megabilla has popped the booster.
At the launch tower.
What an incredible view!
That fucking happened. That fucking happened. I showed you on my last video. But, and whose side is that guy on? Right? The guy who made all that happen of catching a rocket the size of a fucking 20-story building, right? That probably weighs as much as a 20-story building, at least. I don't know. It's pretty fucking heavy. Bringing it down to earth, pivoting it perfectly with rockets underneath, balancing it to gradually get down to about a half a mile an hour, almost a mile an hour, to drop on that, on the side of that. Another 2 or 3 miles an hour more, that whole tower goes down. That guy, Elon Musk, is on Trump's side. That's a pretty fucking badass team, man. You got JFK, Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, and then you got this chick who fucking is awesome. Not that chick. Let me find it. I saved it. I'm pretty sure I saved it. Let's go to Monica because I saved her little
Finally go outside. Sit on.
All right.
Slavery begins in the early 1800s.
Earlier.
God. Where is it? I just gotta look it up.
Stupid? What?
The Vanished Shadow gun magnet.
Oh, that looks cool. Huh.
American people and
every investment incurs some risk.
Oh shit, you can skip it. Okay, here we go.
Pressed on her past support of taxpayer-funded sex. Vice President Kamala Harris pressed on her past support of taxpayer-funded sex changes for inmates and illegal immigrants in her interview with Brett Baier. Here's the soundbite.
Are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
I will follow the law, and it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed. Under Donald.
How can you ask that question with a fucking serious face, for one? I'd be like, just a second, give me a second. I'm going to try to ask. Give me a second. I'm going to try to ask this question. I'm going to try to ask this question. Right? This is, you're just like, what the fuck? I want to hear it again because it's fucking.
Illegal aliens to transition taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender.
I will follow the law. And it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed. Under Donald Trump's administration, these surgeries were available.
The Trump aides say that he never advocated for that prison policy and no gender transition
well,
surgeries
you know what? You got to take responsible for what happened in your administration.
He never did that. That's not, he wasn't part of that. I think that was state by state. I think. And she just does fucking like no matter, whoever's in the earpiece is saying, just fucking blame Trump. Say it was Trump did it. Just say Trump did it. Just say Trump did it. That's all she says. That's all she fucking says. That's all she says. Oh, Trump did that. Oh, Trump did that. Oh, no, I'm not currently doing that to you, but Trump already did it. That's been her fucking answer since day one. Trump did it. Trump did it. He already did that. He'd always do it. He's doing that now. Well, he's running. Oh, this gets better.
Former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard joins us with reaction. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
What is your reaction when you hear that soundbite?
My reaction is that lady's a fucking lunatic. Fucking lunatic.
One of the many examples of how Kamala Harris is lying.
Is a fucking lunatic.
To the American people and assuming that we're so stupid as just to believe her lies. We've seen the sound bites and the clips of her when she was advocating and patting herself on the back for the law changes that she brought about that would do this very thing, that would make sure that U.S. taxpayers are covering transgender surgeries for inmates. She advocated for the same for illegal immigrants coming across our border. She refuses to take responsibility and own up to her positions. If her views have changed, fine, people can change, but the American people deserve the respect enough to know exactly why she has changed. In that interview with Brett, there were a number of examples where she is lying about her past positions in order to try to create this new version of herself that she thinks will be more palatable to voters. And it's offensive in my view.
So this is such a neck and neck race. Every single vote, every single viewer, their vote will matter.
Yes.
And he pressed her on why, if he's so bad, why is he winning in the swing states? Listen to this.
Why, if he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States? Why is that happening?
Listen,
Are they stupid? What is
God,
it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within.
Sorry, I was laughing. Yeah, I should just find it.
So we're coming to leading in the polls, and we're doing well. But whatever you can do to help us out.
A viral video with millions of views shows Vice President Kamala Harris calling young adults stupid.
What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid.
Some people are claiming she's referring to.
Well, it's kind of taken out of context, but But anyway, do we need to go there? All right, let's go back.
Within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
Wait, what did she just say? Turn the American military on the American people. Let me see. What did I put in there? I think I put it right here. There it is. Directive 5240, lethal force against its own American citizens. They just created that a couple days ago. (5240.01) Huh.
The Harris-Biden administration just authorized lethal force by the military on United States citizens. Y'all, we need to pay attention to this. I was given this, it's a copy of the Department of Defense directive that was updated on September 27th. I got this about 3 weeks ago. Literally, I got this the night that the storm happened here, Hurricane Helene, and I've been just tied up trying to help as many people as I can here. And now I'm finally getting a chance to record this video. This is a terrible, terrible thing. I have the directive. Like I said, I've had it for about 3.5 weeks. And yesterday, I was doing my due diligence. I read this directive, and I even reached out to some of my friends who are currently serving in the United States military in different branches at very high ranking levels. Some of them in support, some of them in SF, Special Forces, and this is legit. This is the same directive they got, and it's not good. Never before has the United States military been able to take lethal force action on American citizens in the homeland. But here we are. Why? Because they think that there will be civil unrest in, 3 weeks or 4 weeks for the election? 3 weeks. And when they tell you who they are, ladies and gentlemen, believe them. And they're telling us who they are. You know, Biden has said for years now, if you think you're going to defeat the United States military, you're going to need an F-16. Remember all that bullshit? Well, he just cleared the military to take action. Here is the DoD Directive 5240.01 that was just updated, like I said, September 27th. And it is the DoD intelligence and intelligence-related activities and defense intelligence component assistance to law enforcement agencies and other civil authorities. Now, rather than just show you the one paragraph that is going to make your eyes bleed, let's see what it's applicable to, okay? This issuance applies to the Office of the Secretary of Defense, the military departments, the Office of the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Joint Staff, the combatant commands, the Office of Inspector General of the Department of Defense, the defense agencies, the Department of Defense field activities, and all other organizational entities within the Department of Defense referred to collectively in this issuance as the DoD components. Now, this issuance does not apply to activities conducted by the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency pursuant to Section 442 of Title 10 of the U.S. Code or Section 3045 of Title 50 of the U.S. Code for A, humanitarian assistance, B, disaster readiness, response, and recovery, C, maritime and aeronautical safety of navigation, D, environmental and security vulnerability studies, E, mapping, charting, and geodetic missions, F, other similar activities not constituting foreign intelligence or counterintelligence. Okay, so of those things that it does not apply to, it wouldn't take but a single order from above to turn that into a different scenario where they're going to say there's public and civil unrest. And here's the part that everybody should be aware of. This is the part a lot of people have been reaching out about in the last couple weeks here, and I have verified it. This is the one that everybody got issued, and my friends in the military have all said the same thing, that this was not.
In
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Turns out that a book is more durable than stone. It's more durable than a castle. It's more durable than an empire. You don't get away with anything. And so you might think you can bend the fabric of reality and that you can treat people instrumentally and that you can bow to the tyrant and violate your conscience without cost. You will pay the piper. It's going to call you out of that slavery into freedom, even if that pulls you into the desert.
God is ethic-centered, not ethnic-centered.
Well, do you want the Pharaoh on your side or do you want God on your side? That's kind of the question.
There's a profound sense here that what is going on with the Israelites is the contrast to Pharaoh, right? Like, under no terms will you go, and the Israelites had to say, we will go under any terms.
And we're going to see that there's something else going on here that is far more cosmic and deeper than what you can imagine.
The highest ethical spirit to which we're beholden is presented precisely as that spirit that allies itself with the cause of freedom against tyranny. And
yes, exactly. I want villains to get punished.
But do you want the villains to learn before they have to pay the ultimate price?
That's such a Christian question.
Accidentally included. Here it is. You go to section 3.3, levels of authority. Subject to paragraph 3.1, defense intelligence components may provide personnel to assist a federal department or agency, including a federal law enforcement agency or a state or local law enforcement agency, when lives are in danger, in response to a request for such assistance in accordance with the following approval authorities. 1. The Secretary of Defense may approve any type of requested permissible assistance prescribed in paragraph 3.2. 2. The decision to approve requests for these types of permissible assistance described in paragraph 3.2 to law enforcement agencies and other civil authorities are reserved to the Secretary of Defense. A. Provision of personnel to support response efforts for civil disturbances, which may also require presidential authorization. B. DoD response to chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and high-yield explosive incidents. C, and this is the big one, assistance in responding with assets with potential for lethality, or any situation in which it is reasonably foreseeable that providing the requested assistance may involve the use of force that is likely to result in lethal force, including death or serious bodily injury. It also includes all support to civilian law enforcement officials in situations where a confrontation between civilian law enforcement and civilian individuals or groups is reasonably anticipated. Such use of force must be in accordance with DoD, that's Department of Defense Directive 5210.56, potentially as further restricted based on the specifics of the requested support. D, provision or use of DoD unmanned systems, drones, in the United States, except as delegated by the Secretary of Defense pursuant to the October 31, 23 Secretary of Defense memorandum. Guys, anywhere that law enforcement could potentially be anticipated to have a confrontation with civilians or civilian groups, i.e. militia, that group that's required by the United States Constitution, they're authorized to, upon request and approval by the Secretary of Defense, and perhaps in some situations the President, they're approved to shoot you.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy, man. Perfect timing. Like I said, they're gonna fucking do it. They're gonna steal this. And they're gonna have people out. Now it's somebody's gonna start it. That's what's gonna happen. They're gonna get somebody out there. To fucking, they're gonna get some Ray Epps type person. If you don't know who that is, ask me. He's an asset. Started J6. Let's go into the Capitol. We need to go into the Capitol. And people around him are going, Fed, Fed, Fed. Sure enough, he is. That's just fucking nuts, people. That's just fucking craziness. That is total craziness. All I'm saying is they're prepping this because they're also saying, and the question has been asked many, many times. And let me get you the question real quick. Republicans. Let's see if I can get it. I just typing that out. Waiting for permission. What? No, I'm not. What the fuck just happened? Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Yeah, it's all right there. Just look at it. What's it saying here? Republicans are laying the groundwork to dispute the 2024 election. You fucking damn right they are, because they, you're gonna have 20 million illegal immigrants voting. Why wouldn't you? So that's what the military is going to be used for. And it's up to the military to decide, do we stand with the Constitution and true justice and let it play out and see what happens, or do you intervene? And money is going to move these people. You're going to have, Bob, just go out there, take your troops out there, get a show of force. I need 10,000 here, 20,000 there, 1,000 here, some there. We'll make sure we get you some money in your Cayman Island account or your Swiss bank account or your South African account. Don't worry. We'll take care of you, man. Okay. This is it. This is what's going to start it. This could start it. Start it. And I think you know what it is. Because they've been asking this question, will you concede to 2024? Why would you fucking say that? Will you concede? Somebody, I've always said what they're going to do. And let me see if I say this right. I put it down somewhere in here. I put it in my Facebook. All right. Yeah. Directive 5240.01, lethal force against armed American citizens. Just put it in there. They just updated and put it in there. That's fucking nuts. That is just fucking nuts. Now what I said, if I can find it. Down here, I post a lot of shit, man. Yeah, because this is happening. Codify catch release. Let 1.8 million people. That's all post, but weak asylum screening. 600 billion to Ukraine. I mean, just, for fuck's sakes. Oh my god. It's the food, man. I'm telling you. I feel sorry for that guy because he's just a product of the process out there, or the processed food. What the fuck was that question? Oh my god. Yeah, it's in here somewhere. Yeah, so this is...
Because this is what convinces people to accept, to legitimize total biometric surveillance. If we want to stop this epidemic, it is critical because this is what convinces people to accept, to legitimize total biometric surveillance. It is critical because this is what convinces people to accept, to legitimize total biometric surveillance. If we want to stop this epidemic, we need not just to monitor people, we need to monitor what's happening under their skin, their body temperature. Like we walked in here, we had to go through a body temperature test. Now they're using it to see whether you have the coronavirus. But exactly the same technology can determine what you think about the government. You know, anger is a biological phenomena just like disease. It's not some spiritual thing out there. It's a biological pattern in your body. With this kind of surveillance, I mean, you watch the big president, the big leader, gives a speech on television. The television could be monitoring you and knowing whether you're angry or not, just by analyzing the cues, the biological cues.
God. The Demoncrats are fucking all in with these people. All in. Oh, hey, there's a good video. There you go.
Thank you. And I just want to say how much I appreciate Puff Dad for doing the kinds of work that he's doing, because he doesn't have to do this. But this is part of what is important about giving back.
Yes, we applaud you, and I want to apologize for not sweating, but I do this so much. I'm so cool. I just want y'all to see everybody I'm interviewing is sweating. I'm not even touching my brow. I'm so cool, and I want to apologize. I ain't trying to make you look bad or nothing like that, but I'm just so cool. We
T-shirt. I tell you, if he was wearing one of those fancy designer clothes he's designing, he'd be sweating just like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crack will kill you. That's all I got to tell you. Oh, yeah. The woke destroyed the WNBA. Demoncrats destroyed the NBA. Caitlin Clark's gone. She's like, I'm not going to fucking deal with these people. I am not going to deal with these people. I think it's way down here. For God's sakes. Yeah, that's real. Man. Just fucking nuts.
Yes. Yes. I am not perfect, but I will tell you, I'm always going to put the needs of the people first.
I'm always going to put people first. Right? I'm always going to put the needs of the people. That was some serious.
Those are body language analysts, blah, blah, blah. Oh, there she is when she was younger, getting her career. Good job. Newsofx2.com. Newsofx2.com. Last minute they get their first flowers on their funeral. Some don't even get any, even in death. The Hawk Tua girl new viral reel. See a weapon. Alright. It's like a bag or a fucking. Alright. From Redfield, Miss Fire. What is this? Former CDC Director Robert D. Redfield and Miss Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is right that the FDA is captured and that's religious groups. That's true. That's so fucking true. I knew that a long time ago. I tried to point that out in 2020, early 2020. Are we still looking at the same thing? Okay, good. Yeah, the blood's all contaminated now, by the way. That's funny. Americans were struggling to get access to masks and tests during COVID. Donald Trump told us to find on our own. Meanwhile, we're sending the supplies and what? That's bullshit. When I looked at it, I said, Demoncrats can't help but lie, cheat, and steal. They can't. It's in their nature. Probably due to someone not letting people taking their stuff after the storm. Oh, hey, Snark. I'm sorry to say there. Jesus. You know, I was told that they're bringing back some people's old channels. Probably not mine, because I'm pretty accurate. And most of the stuff that I talked about in early 2020 and my prior four or five channels that I had were very accurate with my information. And that came to fruition. And they're still not up. Let me see what else I got here. Yeah. Demoncrats, the pot calling the kettle black party. Let's do something to help each other. It's like they're taking it out of the Trump playbook. They're all about helping. Fucking crazy. Most people will eat chicken nuggets and sausage rolls made out of bum holes, noses, ears, but they won't eat a bruised banana. I like bruised bananas. Bill Clinton. You got to see that video. Yeah. Trust me, I know all about that, Sherry. This is so true. I like Elon. He's a smart guy, but I got to tell you, 50 years down the road, nobody's going to be restoring a Tesla. That's for fucking damn sure. I just don't see that happening. That's funny. Is this it now? Average amount of... Oh, this is a good one. The average amount of illegal immigrants that crossed the border per year was about 400,000. Again, on average per year for the last few decades. This administration has created 64 executive orders to take down many of these safeguards and protect the U.S. borders. Spent millions in flying them in from foreign countries and busting them all over the United States, and now they have allowed 3.5 roughly millions per year to come into our country with no questions asked, aka a completely and fully open border. When the Democrats are done using these people to vote illegally, which they already in the system for that they've kicked them into the, and then they'll kick them to the curb, the Democrats, oh shit, they're going to get very desperate. And this is going to be a gigantic problem for over 20 million extremely desperate, frustrated, and pissed off people doing anything and everything they can to live. It's already becoming a nightmare to deal with. Most of you have no idea what's about to happen if you allow this administration to continue this craziness. Yeah. Fucking nuts.
For fiscal year FY 2024, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security will provide $640.9 million of available funds to enable non-federal entities to offset allowable costs incurred for services associated with non-citizen migrant arrivals in their communities.
That's just a slap in the face. Just continually slapping people in the face. It's like kicking you in the nuts. Like if you're asking for something and they just kick you in the nuts and then say you get nothing and like it. This is how it's been since fucking day one of 2021. And it's mind-boggling to me. I'm not gonna find that. It's way down in my stuff. But it's just freaking mind-boggling to me. It's just it's just completely mind-boggling. And this is just a powerful little meme here. World War III, good. Orange Man, bad. What the fuck? Right? What the fuck? And let me show you this. Oh, no, I'll show you this one. Before I go, I'm going to show you this. Go here. Let me find this real quick. Okay. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. U.S. Department of Defense. Today, the U.S. military forces, included U.S. Air Force B-2 bombers, conducted precision strikes against 5 hardened underground weapons storage locations in Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen. U.S. forces targeted several of the Houthi underground facilities using various weapons components of types that the Houthis have used to target civilians and military vessels throughout the region. This was a unique demonstration of the United States' ability to target facilities that our adversaries seek to keep out of reach. No matter how deeply buried underground, hardened, or fortified, the employment of U.S. Air Force B-2 Spirit bombers, long-range stealth bombers, demonstrate U.S. global strike capabilities to take action against these targets when necessary at any time. Yeah, so I'm all for the military, and I want us to be strong. But we, at some point, got to get our hands out of this stuff, and here's the biggest reason why. Here's the biggest reason why. All right, here's the best. I'll just type it in here. I'll go in this one right here. Total
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks very much. Senator Kennedy, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Senator Warner, I appreciate your comments. I've been very, very perceptive. Thank you. Let me say first, Mr. Speaker, I've served with a lot of speakers of the House back in Louisiana. God bless you. You know, you've got an automatic place in heaven.
Thank you.
I wouldn't have your job for all the money in the world.
I can say the same about yours, Senator.
Well, no, you've got to herd all these free-range chickens that wander off and go catch them, and sometimes you can catch some and sometimes you can't.
It's very true.
Thank you for your service. Mr. Williams, if the price of electricity goes up, does that make a house more expensive?
Not in a direct sense, but I mean, electricity is an input to a lot of things, both on the construction side.
It makes home ownership more expensive.
Sure, yes. And
all right, if property taxes go up, does that make home ownership more expensive?
Sure does.
If homeowners insurance goes up, does that make home ownership more expensive?
Indeed.
If interest rates, particularly mortgage rates, go up, does that increase the cost of home ownership?
It does.
A lot, right?
Depends on a lot of factors, but sure, it could.
If when you own a home, you're going to have repairs. If the cost of home maintenance and repairs goes up, does that make home ownership more expensive?
Indeed.
Okay. If you, whether you agree with it or not, if you admit 10 to 12 foreign nationals illegal into your country, all of whom need housing, does that make the cost of home ownership go up?
You know, I think that all of these questions and all of these inputs to housing costs.
What about illegal immigration? Does that increase demand for housing and make the cost of home ownership go up?
I think that's a distributional question. I think the question we're here to talk about today
but does it make the cost of home ownership go up?
We're here to talk about housing supply today.
We're here to talk about home ownership and the cost of owning a home. You're a bright man. Does that make the cost of home ownership go up when you increase demand that much?
I think that's a distributional question.
You don't want to admit it, do you?
I think that's a distributional question, and the problem that we're facing is
all due
housing
respect,
supply.
I think you're being disingenuous.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, Mr. Pinto, if you increase immigration by 11 million people, does that increase the cost of home ownership?
Senator, yes. We've tried to figure out what that impact is.
I mean, duh.
Yeah, but the federal government doesn't publish where they're distributing these individuals around the country, so we can't do the kinds of experiments that we normally do.
It causes home ownership to go up in some places.
But we can't figure out exactly what it is. We'd love to.
I'm not
we
here
need
to
the
play
data.
games. I'm here to try to give some answers.
But if you could get more data, that would be great.
I'm sorry?
If you could get the data released by the federal government as to where.
I'll give you some data. Mortgage rates are up 123%. Premiums for homeowners are up 16%. The average electricity bill in America is up 28%. That affects the cost of home ownership. No wonder people can't buy a home. This dollar, thanks to President Biden and Vice President.
Before he goes, there's an important question this man asked. And I think it's important.
I'm sorry?
If you could get the data released by the federal government as to where.
I'll give you some data.
If you can get the data released as to where these people were sent. And he kind of went over it just to make that point. So I'm really concerned about this. If you guys understand what I'm saying, is they need to know. Okay? This person, Ed Pinto, wants to know what's going on. You know, this affects homeowners insurance. This affects the taxes. This affects infrastructure. They got to make bigger sidewalks, bigger streets, whatever the fucking case may be. But we're looking at about, by the end of 2020, you're probably looking close to or maybe above the more accurate numbers, because they're not going to put all the numbers. This is just from what they can somewhat sufficiently count. They're at 11 or 12 million right now. Again, the usual amount is about 400,000, give or take 100,000 for the past few decades. Now it's 3.5 million people coming in per year. This is huge. And they're going to get desperate, and it's going to be bad. And then, you know, the Democrats want them in the military. So let's just say this. We're out bombing this country, that country, tariffs on that country, but, you know, we're lots of countries, and there's over about 200 some odd countries on the planet. Most of them don't like us. Most of them hate us. Yet the doors are wide open. You don't think with these doors being wide open, a few of them that might have some pretty ill intentions, or maybe some terroristic type intentions, may want to come in, organize, do their thing, and create something really bad? You don't think that would happen? When you have a border that's actually got troops out there that are patrolling it and trying to, you know, there's nobody out there. You rarely see trucks. You rarely see, you know, the four-wheelers out there cruising around, checking out the fences and the borders. You don't see them that much anymore. They're from a lot of videos that I've seen, some YouTubes I've seen, even reports on mainstream media, it's just not there like it used to be. Trump had a force of people out there just making sure they come in legally. You know, you got to wait your turn. You got to take the civics exam. You got to do these things. You know, you weren't born here. And they were letting people in that were born here. If you come in and you're able to have a kid here, then they stay their American citizen. That wasn't even challenged back in the Trump days. He didn't like it. Women going across these deserts at 110, 15 degrees, pregnant, and they get here and they have a kid. Next thing, the kid's a citizen. You know, I mean, I get it. That's pretty valiant, and there's a lot of people that don't like Mexico. But right now, Mexico's becoming a pretty nice country compared to ours. And it could be the total collapse and fall of our country. But as I said, the World Economic Forum, the UN, NATO, they're going to make sure If it gets to the point where it has to be fixed, they're going to come in and fix it. And the military is going to back them. And the media is going to create the mass formation psychosis or the mass consent through fear and crap. It's just, the psyops, just the marketing, the advertising, it's just amazing. People are going to buy it left or right. I got people in my fucking family that buy this shit left and right. It's crazy. Friends, neighbors, just everywhere. Just fucking, they just eat this shit up like it's fucking, like it's a s'more. Fucking marshmallow with graham crackers, anyway, and chocolate. Yeah, it's crazy. This is nuts. Yeah, I'm just saying, the reason why I have this show is because I'm just letting you know it's just gone full, tenfold nuts crazy since this illegitimate administration came in. Crazy. And I've got tons of proof that it is an illegitimate administration. Tons of proof. Just come on. Just ask me, and I'll send it to you. Just let me know. It's out there. There's lots of J6 tapes. There's lots of documentation. There's lots of things that happened during COVID. Wait, sorry. I think some people are calling that. No, maybe not. Fluvid-19? Yeah. Right? All right. Yeah, there's October is going to be nuts, and right before this election or right during this election, it could be even crazier. Yeah. They've already said that the Democrats have already indicated on their mainstream media sources that it may not be over on that day. We might not even know. Well, that's okay, because I want it to be counted thoroughly, completely. And if we have to go to... what's interesting is Florida and many of the red states are able to physically count everything with 3 different monitoring, a bias, one side, another side, and somebody else to watch the counting, to check all the forms. Well, they all check the forms at the same time and check everything, and they're able to do it all at the same night. Yeah, that's why they needed Fluvid-19 people. And I'll tell you anyway. Thank you for watching. This is James of Montauk. Aloha.